Welcome back to the channel, guys. Going to start doing an Ark rod review. Going to start with the Invoker Tour series. You know, that's a series I use an absolute ton in a course of a year. It's one of my favorite rod series that they have. Actually, I only use the Invoker Tour and the Reinforcer. I know that all their rods are incredible though. The Dark series, West Logan series, Brandon Cobb series, all their rods are great. Essence, I've used a few of them. Great rods. You know, they just at Ark, they really care about their product. They're really all about the quality of it, making sure that you guys are getting the best bang for your buck. The reels are incredible. You know, I use the G8s mostly. I've got a lot of G7s. When I first signed with them in 2022, before the G7 or the G8s come out, I was using the G7s. Awesome reel. Last year and this year, I started using the G8s, exclusively the G8s mainly this year. And like I said, everything they've got is just absolutely phenomenal and really high quality product. But this is all about the rod. We'll do some about the reel later on. But right now, we're just going to talk about the Invoker Tour series rod, and then later on, we're going to go into the Essence, or not the Essence, but the Reinforcer. Excuse me. I'm going to go through all the Invoker Tours that I use, what I like them for, and the multiple things you can use them for that they're really good for. So I get a lot of guys always reaching out. What rod is a 610 good for? What rod is a 7.3 medium heavy good for? And what's a good rod for a glide bait or a spinnerbait or a chatterbait? And so we're going to do all that here in the next few weeks, and I'm going to go through all of them and tell you exactly what they're the best for. But starting out, this one is the 610 medium. This action is the regular. This is the regular action, not a fast, but 610 medium. It's line rate is 8 to 14 pound, lure weight an 1/8 to 5/8 of an ounce. Now, I don't really pay any of that any attention. I take a rod, I touch it, you know, down on the floor of my boat or the ground, whatever, and just, you know, I mean, I've been fishing my entire life. I know what I'm looking for in a rod, what I want that tip to feel like. I don't care if the back of the rod says it's rated for 1/8 of an ounce or 2 ounces. It doesn't matter. When I'm picking up a rod, I know what I'm envisioning throwing on that rod, what I'm looking for in a rod, and I can just feel it and tell right off the bat if that's the rod I'm going to want. But this rod here, I've got a lot of experience with it, 3 years now, and it is an absolute phenomenal jerkbait rod. Doesn't matter if it's a deep diver, shallow diver, big jerkbait, small jerkbait. You know, like this is a real deep diver. This is a prototype Yozuri that I'm trying out right now that they sent me. But any jerkbait 4.5 inches or smaller, this is the rod I want to throw it on. Now, if I get into a bigger jerkbait, 5 inch or like a Megabass Canada or something, obviously I'm going to throw that on a little bit of a different rod. But any of your normal jerkbaits, your regular Megabass, your regular Yozuri, OSP, whatever, Rapala jerkbait, whatever you want to throw, this 610 medium it feels pretty light. I mean, when you first pick it up, you touch it, you're like, that rod might be a little too limber, a little too parabolic. It's not once you get it out there and you start fishing with it. That was my first concern with this rod when I first grabbed it, felt it. But once I got out on the lake with it and I caught a couple bass, I was like, dude, that rod is legit. That is probably the best feeling jerkbait rod I've ever put in my hands. It loads up really good to be able to make really long casts. It just, when you lean into the fish, fighting them to the boat, you don't feel like the rod's putting too much torque on the fish to where she might pull off. If they make a run at the boat, the rod loads up really good to allow enough forgiveness in those hooks and in that fish that she doesn't typically pull off. I know you guys saw me up at St. Lawrence River this year where we had a top 10 finish where I was doing nothing but catching giant smallmouth, 3 to 5, even a couple 6-pounders nearly that I caught all on a jerkbait, and that was all with this rod right here. And it handled them nicely, you know, because you lose so many smallmouth on a jerkbait. They're just, them things are absolutely crazy, insane, and it's hard to find a rod that really allows you to fight those smallmouth correctly to keep from losing them. But not only is this rod great for a jerkbait, I throw pop-Rs on this, little pop-Rs like the little Rico, even the bigger Rico, like a Zara puppy. I throw the Yozuri 3DR X75. That's the type of top-water I throw on it. I have thrown the 100 on this a lot if I'm really after schooling fish, but I usually throw that one on the 6.8 medium reinforcer because it's got just a little bit more backbone, but we'll get into that rod later on. But this rod I use mainly 1.0. It's a great rod for like a little 1.0 Strike King crankbait or a little 3DRB, 3DRX Yozuri crankbait that they make as well. There's a lot of multitude of things this rod's good for, but mainly reaction baits for me. Top waters, little crankbaits, 3/8 ounce trap, it's great for that. You could throw a shad wrap on it like a number 7 or a 5 shad wrap. I've done that a lot. What else? That's mainly all I use it for. Jerk baits, little crankbaits, and little bitty top waters. Not even little bitty, just smaller top waters, 3.5 inches or smaller. But it's an excellent pop water rod. So if you're in the market for a good jerkbait rod, good top water, little top water rod, I highly suggest checking out the Invoker Tour 610 medium. It's an excellent all-around rod for those little things.